David Morgan and myself, David Goldstrom, our second visit on day one to the World Weightlifting Championships here in Doha, the capital of Qatar. And coming up in a very few minutes from now, the opening men's championship category, 56 kilos. That should mean Halil Mutlu, but for those of you who haven't perhaps kept abreast of everything, no Halil Mutlu. I'm afraid the Olympic and world champion has been a naughty boy, disqualified for 2 years for taking an illegal substance, nandrolone in his case. And so therefore the title a much more open affair in this men's 56 kilo competition. These are the contenders, just one from Europe, that's Eric Bonnell right at the top, 7 from Asia and 2 from South America, from Colombia, including Nelson Castro, 4 from the top of the list there, the reigning Pan-American champion. Well, David, an interesting situation, 56 kilos, and it does, as you see, Mutlu's statistics there, mean that this is quite an interesting challenge.
Well, that's right. It's disappointing that Mutlu's not around, so it's unlikely that we're going to see any world records, but on the upside, we are going to see 1 or 2 very, very good battles for medals.
And straight away, starting off with Sergio Rada, one of the 2 Colombians. Incidentally, we've actually got a 16-year-old athlete in this lineup, which is unusual at this level. More of him when we see him. This young man is only 21, one of 3 lifters today in the A finals, celebrating his birthday on the 1st of January. Bronze medal recently in the Junior World Championships. And a good enough start.
Yes, good clean opener.
And of course, those of you joining us for the first time, let me emphasize that these are the first senior world championships at which the 1 kilo rule is being introduced. No longer the minimum increase being 2.5 kilos. It's 1 kilo, which makes the whole battle, particularly at these lighter weights, a lot more interesting, a lot more tactical, and the body weights arguably a lot less relevant.
Yes, and of course these athletes all weighing under 56 kilos, or 56 kilos or and under, which is 8 stone 11. So all of these men are under 9 stone.
Well, here's a familiar face, Eric Bonnell for France. Just about the oldest man in the class, very experienced, 31 years of age. Didn't get a total in Athens. That was a huge disappointment to him. He's been in recent times 5th in Europe at 107 kilos for his opening weight. Heyday, I have to say, for Eric, really about 5 years ago, when in the European Championships snatched 118 kilos, which remains his personal best.
Well, it would have been 117.5 then, because of course we didn't have the new kilo rule. But that was good. So 107 kilos.
Good lift.
Sergio Rada opened up on
105.
105. Bonnell, always tough to compete at World Championship level in Vancouver a couple of years ago, just before the Athens Games, outside the top 10, totaled up 255. But a terrific servant to French weightlifting, France, who hosted the World University Championships last season. Mr. Bourgaridez, the president of the French Federation, hoping that in the near future that he can host the Senior European Championships. So the Pan-American champion, Nelson Castro, with 110 kilos now on the bar.
Yes, so almost approaching double body weight at this very, very early stage of the competition.
Yeah, he's really graduating into the senior ranks. He competed in Athens in the B division of the Olympic Games and snatched 117.5 kilos, which is exactly what he did in winning the Pan American title. So a promising South American, but on that evidence starting well within himself.
Well, for me, it wasn't the most convincing lift. The arms are a bit soft. But it's a start.
Well, let's wait and see whether, having got one on the board, things sharpen up and he produces an increasing level of performance there. I always find this very interesting, David, when you look at the different lifters in the competition, the different attitude. Here comes a man who sort of just looks a bit more bouncy, a bit more sprightly. And that's youth for you, because here is the 16-year-old Berouzi for Iran. So a nice reception for him. Sajed, or Sayed, I hope I've pronounced that, or Sayed I should say. Hopefully I've pronounced it right. If I haven't, send me an email and help me out. 110 kilos.
Oh, very impressive.
Yeah, and that's right on his personal best from Dubai at the end of September, the Asian Championships.
Very, very quick under the bar.
And of course, David, Iran or Iranian weightlifting, headlined by the big man, Rezazadeh, who we all think is capable of 500 kilos.
Well, I think time will tell on that one.
The interesting question is, when would he go for that? Would he go for these championships? He certainly entered in the super heavyweight class. I guess we're all hoping that that day comes when he's, you know, fit and full of himself, that he really is prepared to push himself, because that's what it's about at the moment. There isn't anybody out there to push him.
No lift. 110 kilograms remain on the bar.
So Rada got 105, but struggling with 110. And his 110 compares with Li Zhang of China, who's proposed an opening weight of 122. Likewise, Wang Xingguan of Taipei, and also Yang Xinyi of Taipei. So those three men together with Wu Meiyin of China. So two Chinese lifters, two Taipei lifters, and they're all proposing to open up within 2 kilos of each other. So that promises to be quite fascinating. No, I think he's going to follow himself here, Rada, so he's got 2 minutes.
Yes, I think he's got the strength. He pulled the bar to arm's length. It's just about technique. I think the trouble is when the weight gets heavy, you tend to lean your body back right at the top of the pull, which puts a bit of backward momentum on the bar. And on this one, he's got to do exactly what he did last time, but he's got to stand up rather than leaning back at the top.
So, third and final attempt for Sergio Rada. Important mark for him. Better.
Yes, did everything right. just underlining that weightlifting isn't just about being strong enough, it's about focus, concentration.
I must say the most important thing is, of course, to get the technical aspects of the stage presentation correct. As you see, Eric Bonnell coming out for his second attempt, 4 kilos up at 111. But I have to say, I've seen smarter presented stages in my life. It looks a little bit more like a club weightlifting venue rather than a world championship venue.
It's quite basic.
That won't be worrying Eric Bonnell.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Stop the
So Garusha of Moldavia to open up on 112. Igor Garusha. Well, that's a couple of kilos more than he achieved in the Europeans, in which he finished 6th last spring. But
didn't gain enough height on the bar. I was trying to fix it overhead.
He's a lifter who
stood up.
Sorry, David, I was going to say he's a lifter who's fluctuated a little bit between 56 and 62 kilos, so he's down in the lower weight category again now.
Of course, that's one of the problems that we discussed earlier. When reducing, it's up to the coach to decide what the athlete should start on. And I think that when you've come down from a heavier bodyweight class, you should certainly err on the side of caution and use your 3 attempts to build.
Bonnell, by virtue of that 1 kilo at the moment in the lead, although he weighed in pretty heavy, 55.91. There is no one heavier than him amongst the 10 that are vying for honours tonight. Dr. Ayan prowling around the Secretariat, having a little chat with Attila, their computer expert.
That's better. Again, underlining that it's concentration. He wasted that first attempt because he wasn't focused. He didn't stand up with his pull before going under. Rushed it.
Yeah, and he is one of the lighter men. In fact, at 55.37, there is nobody lighter. But a long way to go. Bonnell coming out for his 3rd and final lift. Interesting, David. I mean, a lot of lifters, you know, you want to go for the big prizes, the Olympic Games, the World Championships. Bonnell's known for a long time that that's always going to be, you know, outside his compass. So what keeps driving you?
Well, I think he's got a chance of a medals in European Championships, and you know, you don't have to be the best to enjoy the sport. I mean, he still competes in the A final in most championships. And maybe he just loves the sport. I mean, somebody said to me once, why have you competed in 6 Commonwealth Games? You know, there's you know, you're not earning millions of pounds. And I said, well, I actually enjoy the sport, which is a concept that I hope many youngsters will have, as opposed to just getting involved in things just, you know, purely for the monetary benefit.
Not that there's any particular monetary benefit in weightlifting.
Well, it depends where you live. If you're
in Qatar,
if you're Greek,
or in Qatar. Remember, it was not so many years ago that Qatar invested $1 million in a whole bunch of Bulgarian lifters. Now, what sort of day would this chap have had, David? I mean, here we are coming in for the evening. So, how will he have prepared for this day?
Well, all of these athletes will almost certainly be training at 2 or 3 kilos overweight. So he will have had a day of probably eating and drinking nothing, sitting in the sauna before the weigh-in. So pretty miserable, actually.
And it's not a pretty happy evening either for him at the moment.
Yes, weightlifting athletes have to weigh in 2 hours before the start of the competition, so during that period they have a chance to have a drink, perhaps something to eat.
I suppose the only comfort is, in a sense, that at least they're not being obliged. Those who are in the A finals and the medal finals tend to lift later in the day, so you don't have to get up so ridiculously early. No, but when something of a help.
Well, kind of, but sometimes it's good to weigh in early when you've had to make weight, because it's much nicer to kind of go to bed, get up, make the weight, and then be able to eat, rather than having to kind of sit around all day.
Well, plenty of support for this young man, and looking for a 5 kilo increase. So can he do it?
Yes, what's striking about this lifter is that, well, obviously his youth, but he very, very quick under the bar, very fast under the bar.
Yeah, well down in the world rankings, but you would expect that. But
very good
at the moment. He's belying the 27th place that he's got in the world rankings.
Excellent. Well, I mean, this is the time between now and 20 where he's going to make substantial gains. And he's so quick under the bar, which of course is an advantage. You could have 2 athletes that can pull the weight to the same height, but if you've got somebody like him who is so fast, he gets under it before it starts travelling down again, whereas you could have somebody who isn't quite as quick, wouldn't be able to lift as much weight. So there's so many different factors involved in the weight that you actually lift, and being strong enough to pull the weight high enough isn't the only one. As we've already seen, concentration plays a big role as well as speed under the bar.
So Castro had that 1:15 failing, so pressure on now.
And again, correcting after failure. So again, a wasted attempt. If he'd focused and done it right the first time, he'd have a chance to add another kilo or 2 to the bar.
The 16-year-old, I think I incorrectly said that Eric Bonnell was the heaviest, but actually, ironically, the youngest is also the heaviest at 55.95. So you can anticipate, David, that he's not only going to get stronger and lift more weights, but he's also going to be moving up the categories. You sense that he might find his place around 62 kilos?
I would think heavier. I would think 69 to 77, because he's tall. He's a tall athlete.
Well, still the big guns to start. This is the hors d'oeuvre, the main course yet to arrive on the table, so to speak. With no disrespect to these lifters. Now, made a mess of the first one. Did it properly the second time. So 5 kilos on the bar to 117 now for Igor Gabrusha of Moldavia.
Not today.
1 out of 3 is, I'm afraid, just not good enough.
As you you say, David, he's come down from a heavier bodyweight class, and I think he's making the mistake of thinking that he can lift the same weights, which of course he can't.
See, 112 kilos, it's pretty modest stuff when you consider that the big guns are going to open up on 10 kilos more than he's finishing on. But, well, it'd be very interesting to watch how this young man's career progresses over the next 2 to 3 years. Could easily find himself in the Olympic Games in Beijing.
Well, I would think that with these lifts, he would be in the medals at Junior World Championships. I can't remember offhand what actually won the Junior World Championships this year, but I would have thought this would have been in the top 3. A snatch of 117. Well, it was great up to that point.
But still got a 115 in the Asian Championships. Wang and Yang of Taipei, well, they were snatching Wang 125 and 118. Try and check out those Junior World Championships. Wu Meijin in the World University Championships this year, 120 kilos. But the juniors were in Busan, so I'll try and check on that for you in a second. First appearance for the Korean. This is Lee Yong-hoon. And Lee Yong-hoon was the bronze medalist in the Junior World Championships this year in Busan and snatched 121 kilos. The silver went to Huang of Vietnam with 123, and actually Chen of China, well, he was the gold medalist overall, but an incredibly strong clean and jerk of 156, which helped him to those medals. So our young man from Iran, not far away, another year.
He's got 4 years as a junior, so but I think it'll probably be as a 63 or a 69er, 62 or a 69er.
Yeah. So rather a lot of red there. But Bairuzi from Iran, 2 out of 315 kilos. Lee of Korea, 55 kilos 88, so at the heavy end of the scale. And this is the first of the 2 men from Taipei. This is Yang Chin-yi. And 120 kilos on the bar for Yang. So things about to get serious now. He's 24. Failed to get a total in the Olympics in Athens. Having said that, if you go back to Warsaw, the World Championships in 2002, he was the silver medalist and snatched 125 kilos on that occasion. More recently, 124 kilos. That was in Macau in the East Asian Championships.
Yeah, so this would be a sensible starter.
Absolutely.
This coach looks a bit disinterested.
Is that textbook coaching? It was almost one of those comments like, don't look at me. I mean, well, if he was looking for inspiration and help, he didn't. He just got really, in a sense, told to get on with it.
they ranked 7th in the world. But in this year's university,
So Yang Chinyi,
gold medal.
third ranking in the IWF rankings coming into these World Championships.
He also has a number of medals from junior world championships.
Well, I might just have a quick revision of that. Now, Yang actually now down to 7th, my apologies. When I last looked, but the official rankings only arrived this morning, so they've now corrected him to 7th place as a result of his efforts in Dubai. So this time, he can't afford to make a mistake. Not if he wants to be going for significant honours, David. He's got to get this in. Well, it's not convincing. And were the legs in line? I'd like to see that from the side.
That was a good lift, but he doesn't seem, he's not on fire, is he? He's not doesn't seem to have woken up yet.
Yeah, just those feet looked.
Well, he wouldn't
okay.
get the. Yeah, two referees have to agree that the feet are in line before they press their little button and the buzzer sounds.
So that was the 120. It's coach. I don't think I'd like him coaching me. I mean, is that? Like a little bit of help from your friends, really, wouldn't you? Well, he's got a difficult moment now because obviously he would have hoped and expected to have got that 120 and then to have moved on and he's got a decision whether he actually ups it, and if he does, by how much. And I think he's got to think in sensible terms of the overall game. So two Chinese athletes, Wu Meijin and Li Zheng, both real strong contenders. Wu Meijin for China. 4th in the world rankings as a result of his success in the student games. That was back in July in Villeneuve in France when he snatched 120, 155 for a 275 total. So you would expect him to come here ready to do a lot more than that. Well, that's the opening performance of the Olympic silver medalist and the defending world champion. In fact, the world champion in 2002 and the world champion in 2003. 25 years of age, so really, in a sense, David, right at the height of his powers. Steve Cannon lurking there as the technical controller or guardian of the warm-up room. Now the other man from Taipei, Wang Xin-Huen, 29 years of age. Like his teammate, actually also failed to total in the Olympic Games in Athens, the last really big competition for all of these men. Oh, that's better. Asian Championships recently opened up with the 125, went 151 for a 276 total. So, could this be the man of the night? It's really a man coming back to form. Won the Asian Championships back in 2000 in Osaka, and he was snatching 125 kilos then. And that was 125 opener?
No, that was 122.
122 for Wang.
So, second of the Chinese athletes.
Yang. With 122. Or not, as the case may be. And that was the third and final attempt, so it leaves him on 120.
No, that was his opener.
Was that his?
That was his opener, yeah. That's the second of the Chinese.
Second of the Chinese, not the second of the Taipei lifters, sorry. That was Li Zheng on 122. Li Zheng, junior world champion in Minsk in 2004. And also the junior world record holder in the snatch at 130.5 kilos.
Got to follow himself. Well, have a little drink of orange and get back out there and do it. So again, just to remind you, these men are weighing under 9 stone. And the weight on the bar, 122 kilos. So this is well over double body weight. About 10 kilos over double body weight.
He thinks, and all the Chinese coaches, that that was an unexpected hiccup. The first failure. But a life given away, really. Even a little battle amongst the equipment manufacturers. Osaka bars, Eleiko weights. I'm quite confused, really. Now 123 for the Korean. Quite interesting, this 5 kilo increase, which even at this level is a reasonable question to ask yourself. He's got one more chance to try and find the answer. I think there's a sense amongst these men, the two men from Taipei and the Chinese and the Korean, that this is all quite tight and close, and they know that there's a title up for grabs here. Maybe just a little bit of nervousness.
Maybe they just pushed, and maybe they're perhaps taking, a kilo or two more than what they should.
Yeah.
And as you say, it's quite a big jump. Perhaps he should have gone and stayed with the others at 122, and then he still had a third attempt. But there you go, it's all part of the game. You have to make the right decisions, you have to be focused when you go on the platform. Mustn't get emotional.
And it's also important that your coaching team is actually reading the signs of the other camp. They've got to be aware of how the warm-up's gone for the other athletes. Do they really look strong? Are they having a good day? Is there any chink, any sort of little sign of weakness that they can detect that might say, okay, I was going for 125, but I don't need to. I'll go 122. And it's all part and parcel of why it's one man that does the job or one woman that does the job when you're out on stage, but it's a team effort up to the point that you walk up those steps and onto the stage to take that weight and put it in the air. I think he's a little bit up against it now, because the problem for him is that if he fails, he's left down on 118, and that's maybe a kilo or two too far away when you think of the overall championship.
Well, I'm just wondering what's happening here now.
Was he going for 123 again? Must be. Sure.
He opened on 120. No, this is the China man.
Oh, sorry.
Opened on 122.
Yeah. Now this is Wang. No, it's not.
This is Meijin.
Wu Meijin. Yeah. 125.
Which means that the Hon must have jumped to 125 then.
Yeah.
Which in a way is madness.
Well, whether it is or not, we'll have to wait and see. We won't have too long to wait. But this is certainly going to put the pressure, turn the screw. This is the man who holds the championship, won the title in Vancouver.
And that looks very, very heavy. So it's turning out, I mean, really, it's anybody's competition, isn't it, at the moment?
Absolutely.
There's nobody running away with it.
You would have expected that this little quintet of men, 2 from Taipei, 2 from China, 1 from Korea, all opening around the 120, 122 mark. If that was their aspiration, that in fact they would have actually performed a lot better. Now there's a chance here for Wang with 125 on the board. Now this is just 3 kilos up from his first effort. Here's the man who's beginning to get his nose in front. Not the lightest, but 125 kilos on the board. That's what matters at the moment. 2 out of 2. And he's in the driving seat now because he's able to watch, David, now whatever the others go for. They've all got to try and lift 125.
Will be next.
And of course, he's still got 1 lift remaining. Looks quite pleased with himself.
It's a bit of a nearly man, the Wang Xinyuan from Taipei. 4th in the Olympics in Sydney, 3rd in the World Championships back in Athens in '99, now 29 years of age. Could he really come back and grab a world title? Could be.
Could happen.
Could happen.
Today could be the day.
Yeah.
So, failure with 120, then a success, and now a big jump. And on this occasion, proving too big, not just from a physical viewpoint, but also psychologically. Just pulling on that bar, realizing just how heavy it was, and deciding not to go underneath.
So we have a situation now that we've got Wang Xinyuan of Taipei, who's got 125. Li Zheng has got 122 for China, and likewise Wu Meijin. And this is Li for Korea.
Yes, now of course he succeeded with 118, failed with 123, and now he's going for broke with 125. So if he gets this, he's right back into the competition. If he fails, he's left down on 118 with quite a big deficit to make up in the clean and jerk.
He's heavier than the lifter from Taipei, so it would only put him into the silver medal position in the snatch phase at this moment, but as you rightly say, it puts him back in with an overall medal chance, or a better one.
Oh, well, look at that. He took the gamble, he believed in himself. Now that's good communication between coach and lifter. They worked out what the problem was. It wasn't strength, it was focus, it was technique. It's good to see somebody perform under pressure and come right back into the competition like that.
So right up there at the moment, Korea and Taipei. Well, these are crucial moments for the Chinese. So Wu Meijin, I guess this is the guy we thought, being the defending champion, that we had down as our favorite to win again tonight, but it's not going to be plain sailing. 126 kilos, just the 1 kilo to edge himself into first place. Heavier than Wang, so that's the reason for that extra kilo going on. Still doesn't look convincing to me.
Just not there today.
No.
Just too heavy. So he's left on 122, and the only person that can change things now, from China anyway, is his teammate. There was one attempt left.
So at the moment, you have to say that the Chinese haven't really quite worked this out. And remember also that Wang, whatever happens, whatever Li Zheng does, Wang has still got one more lift. There it is. 2 men, 2 lifts. Quite a lot of red for failure. But 1 or 2 men, most notably the young 16-year-old Benrouzi from Iran, well, he'll have enjoyed himself so far.
Well, Wang deciding to come out on 126, which I think is wise, but I thought the 125 was right on his limit, so I think this is an extra kilo is probably all he could expect, and then he's just got to sit back and hope that it's enough to hold on to that gold medal.
Well, Li Zheng weighed in at 55.49, which is lighter than Wang, so it does mean that Li Zheng only has to do 126 to go into first place. And it's not there because all he has to do now is to well, 126 he's got to do because the bar can't go down. So Li Zheng, 21-year-old former junior world champion, the only man who can take it away from Wang at the halfway stage. So can he pick up 4 more kilos?
If he's successful, he can take over the lead from the Vietnamese lifter.
So quite a tight competition. There was only 25 kilos difference between the lowest entered and the highest entered total, 260 to 285. But Li Zheng now actually going for 127. So that would suggest he's confident.
Doesn't need it though. Doesn't need it, but he's done it. So there it is.
127, and China lead at the halfway stage in this men's 56 kilo World Weightlifting Championship. Li Zheng takes the lead away from Wang Xinhuan of Taipei on 125, and Li of Korea, heavier, also on 125, but he's now in the bronze medal position, and Wu Meijin, the defending champion, down on 122 kilos. So a spread of 5 kilos between the first 4, but Li Zheng pulling it out of the fire for the Chinese, but we are, as I said, only at the halfway stage. As you can see, it's quite a tight little warm-up area there. Not a huge amount of room, but there are the facts and figures. 127, so a 2 kilo advantage for Li over Wang. Then you can see the same advantage over Li of Korea. Wu, 5 kilos off the pace. And then Yang for Taipei, now 7 behind, and then the 16-year-old, well, that's a pretty good performance to be 12 down at this stage. The Pan American champion, also on 115, Grabusha from Moldavia, Eric Bonnell, and Rada of Colombia down in 10th place at the moment. So half the competition gone, but this is still not a runaway by any means, David.
Still making Russian break.
Now, I wouldn't want to put a bet on who's going to win this one.
You've got Wu, who's posted 155 kilos, likewise Wang, so the duel will continue when we come back after this. Not as yet. So just at the beginning of the clean and jerk, and here is this very, very interesting young 16-year-old Benrouzi, or Berouzi I should say, for Iran, Sayad. Good effort in the first half, 110, 115 kilos achieved in the snatch. Couldn't quite manage 117. This his opening clean and jerk effort. So, solid opener, David.
Good technician, very nice. He's still got some filling out to do. I don't think we'll see his best until he moves up another couple of weight classes.
I think the important thing at this stage, David, is how he's managed, how he's brought along. All too easy to rush, to walk before, he's got to walk before he can run. He's got time on his side, but the temptation to go too quickly is the way to get injured. And he needs to keep away from injuries. Gives himself a total of 245.
Yes, and because he's got quite a wide pulling stance, the gnarling on the bar has been taking the skin off of his shins,
which is painful. If you've ever banged your shin on the edge of a bed leg and scraped the skin off, you'll know that sort of horrible burning feeling and the bruise that comes out. This is Eric Bonnell for France. Steve Cannon's now been promoted out of the back room onto the main floor.
Well, that gives you an idea of how tiny these guys are. Steve Cannon is about the same height as me. He's about 5'8", and he absolutely towers over these men. And when you consider that they're lifting, well, this is 135, which is 297 pounds for those of you that still work in old money.
Yeah, and again, worth emphasising, well over double body weight.
This weightlifting a great power sport. A lot of athletes use the clean and jerk and the snatch as part of their training to develop extra speed strength.
So 246 for Bonnell. At least guarantees himself a total. If I take you back to the European Union Championships of 2000, his real heyday, a personal best of 265 is total 5 years ago. Now Sergio Rada, one of the men, well, I would say the man who's least impressed so far this evening. The two Colombians in the competition, his teammates, the Pan American champion, but Rada, well, to be honest, not on fire. Well, that is a little better.
Yes, he's definitely stronger in this discipline than the snatch. So the bar now at 136 kilos.
And just a kilo increase here for Berouzi. As you said, David, you can edge to what you believe is your limit.
136. So we're about a pound under the 300-pound mark now for this 16-year-old who weighs under 9 stone. So gives you an idea of the kind of strength to weight ratio.
Well, this is the one he really thinks he can get. He's been in this part of the world before. 137 kilos is his personal best, and 136 he's got. So now he's got one lift, David, the one that he dreams of doing at this particular moment. Will it be 137? Might it be 138 or even 140?
I think he's got another 2 kilos in him. But he can kind of do what he wants, because he's in that situation. He's in that sort of situation where he knows he's not going to win any medals today. It's all about just trying to improve on his personal best and gain valuable experience for future World Championships, of which he's got many.
Yeah, just to put things in perspective, as a 16-year-old, the junior world record for clean and jerk is 165 kilos.
Well, that's for the under 20s though, so he's got 4 years to
get up there. Yeah. Moldavia's Igor Gabrusha now out to take his first clean and jerk. A modest 112 kilos in the snatch phase, and he only got 1 out of 3. And he could be going down a very similar road.
Yes, he's not having the best day today, is Igor.
Well, the travel of the bar wasn't really that smooth or helpful.
Yes, not very convincing overhead. Short split, hips not underneath the bar, pushing the bar out in front. And that says it all, I think.
Well, I think probably you're struggling to find a plus amongst all those minuses. So not good, not a good start. You get that sort of sense. Come on, you've travelled all this way and you're here now, and what's going on? Plenty of time, best part of 45 seconds still remaining. Doesn't bother with any chalk, straight onto the platform. But has he the strength? Is his mind really totally zoned in on how to lift this bar? Well, that was a better clean.
So he's got a total. Oh, but he dropped the bar there. And he got a good lift. See, this is...
Well, just explain the rule, David, for anybody who doesn't know.
Well, the rule is that you have to keep your hands on the bar until it goes past the hips. And he just well, let's watch it again. I'm sure he just dropped that. Let's watch, let's confirm it. Yeah, just dropped it. Dropped it.
So that should have been cancelled.
So the jury will be should be called up for that. That should have been a no lift. We saw that clearly. Very bad refereeing. I mean, something so basic as that as well. Very, very basic.
Yeah, if you're going to have rules, then you've got to adjudicate according to the rules. All of these referees are qualified. You know, they've all got passports and examinations, and they all have to present their credentials.
I can't believe that all 3 of them missed it. Maybe one of them would have missed it, but I can't believe that all 3 of them missed it. And this, you know, after all, this is a you know, isn't a divisional championship. This is a world championships.
Well, whether it's a divisional championships or not, I mean, it's not a question of that. It's a question of the fact that the refereeing should be according to the rules. Now, we might disagree with some of the rules about the press outs and things like that, but whilst they're in place and whilst the rules are the rules, then the three people who are sitting in the centre and on either side, that's what they should be doing. And the jury, they're there, and they now only need a majority. They don't need they don't need to be unanimous to overrule what they consider to be an incorrect decision. So perhaps they were sleeping as well.
Oh, it's the first time we've seen that today. That's a technique used by the Bulgarians. Clean the weight with the hands close, then take the hands out so that you don't have to chuck the bar quite so high.
140 kilograms.
But neither of the Colombians really performing at their absolute best at the moment.
So the hands come out.
Eric Bonnell, 140 kilos on the bar. 5 kilo increase, well done. Takes him to 251. Certainly looking, well, there's a great shot there, because there you were talking about the different stature and the height. Now, there you can really see how tiny these guys are. Peruzzi out for his third and final attempt.
Yes, so he's decided to go to 140, go for a new personal best, and why not?
Absolutely. So this is for a total of 255. Yeah.
And 5 out of 6, which would be great on a world stage at this age.
And certainly a man to keep an eye on. Be interesting to track his progress. Good clean. Determination is there, as well as the strength, and he will not be denied. That is 5 out of 6, 255, an excellent senior world championship debut.
And for my money, that was the best of the 3 lifts. So really got it together. ...140 kilos, 308 pounds.
So 3 kilos up on what he achieved in Dubai in the end of September in the Asian Championships, when he clean and jerked 137, finished on 247. So he's improved that to 255. So making good progress. So now Grabusha.
Yes, this man really holding on by the skin of his teeth, really. I mean, the last lift was a definite no lift, but he's been given the opportunity to go on.
Well, that certainly was much better. Well, that was never going to be good anyway.
Oh, his coach is gone.
Yeah.
So an awful day for him.
Yeah, left on 249. And that is only 2 out of 6. And his sports ministry may have a few questions for him when he returns home. So the Pan American champion leading the way at the moment. ahead of Eric Bonnell and Benruzzi. Just having a look at the body weights, 55.84. So Eric Bonnell, yeah, that would be just about right in terms of body weight ranking, but early days. Now Sergio Rada. Better in the clean and jerk than he certainly was in the snatch. And again, this is a interesting increase, 6 kilos. Under the old.
He's not going to win the. He's not going to win the championship. So you know, he's got a lift on the board. Why not go for a big clean and jerk?
But it's interesting how the new rule is changing things, David. It would have been only 5.
That's right.
But he had the option now under the new rule to go 6.
Well, it would have been 5 or 7.5 or,
yep.
or 10. That's right.
Doesn't matter because he didn't make it.
I can see where he's coming from, though. He's got a total, so now he's trying to.
Well, it's damage repair, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, he's trying to do something good on the clean and jerk.
It's putting some respectability into the overall performance, but unfortunately, it's not happening for him.
I actually think he can do that.
Well, he's going to have one more attempt at it.
But in the meantime, his teammate's going to take the stage.
I think this is quite interesting because I wasn't at all convinced about this 140, which he got. It was a good lift, but I'm interested to see where he can go with this now.
So the hands will come out. Very good.
Well, overhead, he's certainly got the strength, but the first phase,
it's that standing up from the low position.
Yeah.
He's obviously got one leg longer than the other. If you watch as he stands up, he twists as he stands. Really has to work, but gets the payoff.
Well, 2 good clean and jerks, now 142, so this would take him to 253 as a total. And that's much better than he did in Sofia earlier in the season when he only totaled up 247.5, so a much better day for Eric Bonnell, still proving that he can be competitive with the best. "31 years of age, maybe thinks that he's got one more Olympic appearance in him."
Stop the clock, please. Loaders. Stop, please. Yes. Loaders 143 kilos.
So Eric can now relax and after tonight enjoy the delights of Doha.
From Colombia.
The sea off to your right hand side. So body weight at the moment dictating the places, but only half the field have got going.
So a private Colombian battle going on here. I had a feeling he was going to jump an extra kilo to try and go ahead of his teammate.
Well, this is 143.
Yep.
Very quick, not mucking around.
Well, I said I thought he could do the 42, and he did the 43. So he's winning the private battle at the moment.
Yeah, because that's a 7 kilo increase from his first clean and jerk, which is 253 total. Which incidentally is the same as Eric Bonnell. But Rada, who weighed in at 55.85, Bonnell at 55.91. So out of the fire, a higher placing for the Colombian. And that's the first smile you've seen from him all evening. The snatch was not enjoyable. The clean and jerk at the end of the day, much better. So now punch and counter punch. It's Castro to try and respond with a 3 kilo increase to 145.
So it's just a question of whether he can stand up from that low squat position in the clean.
This is for a total of 260. Well, history tells us that once he gets to this point, David, game on. So he gets his 260, goes ahead of everybody else who's started, but still, of course, Li from Korea, Wang and Yang from China, Taipei, and Li and Wu from China to start. So the opening clean and jerk attempt now for Li of Korea, already with a bronze medal from the snatch phase, but after the bigger prize, a major championship medal.
So 150 puts him on 275.
And now it'll get interesting, David, because 151 I've got as his PB. He's only 19 years of age, this young man. So how much more can he find, I wonder? Did that 151 in May, so there's been plenty of time. What are we going to say? 157, 158?
Well, he's one of those characters, you never know. I mean, you saw what he's obviously got a good strength of mind. You saw what happened in the snatch.
And here's Yang, the lower rank, sorry, Wang, I should say, the higher ranked of the two Taipei lifters. Silver medal position at the halfway stage with 125 kilos. He's 2 kilos behind Li Zheng of China. And again, 150.
150. Not quite as convincing, but it puts him on 270.
And interestingly enough, Wang Xiyuan, he had posted 155 as an opener, so maybe things in the warm-up room haven't gone quite so well. Li Zheng also posted 150, Yang 150, and Wu Meijin 155. So we're at that really interesting stage now. Here's Yang. No, it's not Yang. It's Zheng.
Yes, so the leader after the snatch. Also taking 150, so
yep.
This would put him on 277 and would give him the lead.
Yeah. He's also got a bodyweight advantage over Wang as well, so At the moment, all he's got to do is keep pace with everything. Arguably, the man who's most interesting, David, is Wu, the defending champion, only 122, 5 kilos down from his teammate, but has posted an opening clean and jerk of 155. Now, if he can do that, that could bring him right back into this competition. So the bar is definitely going up.
So who's your money on?
Well, I think I'd like to hedge my bets until I see Wu take the clean and jerk. I think Li Zheng, you know, he's got the kilos on the board. That was a good opening clean and jerk. I suppose you'd have to give him the edge at the moment because the score's there, and of course he is carrying a 5 kilo advantage over his teammate, and he has got lighter body weight.
Well, I think Hoon is dangerous.
So this is a 3 kilo increase here for Wang. So this is for 278. It really has made weightlifting a lot more tight and exciting now when you get to this stage of the competition.
That's good.
It is good because it's 5 out of 5. An unblemished record this evening.
No, he missed a snatch of 126.
So he did. So 4 out of 5, but that's still pretty good at the moment.
Oh, it's still wide open.
Now he's got to sit and wait. He's going to have that one last lift. So Li Zheng 154, and remember Wu due to come in at 155.
Yes, this is going to tell the story. I wasn't overly convinced of this 150. Going to work for that clean now. Well, that's a disaster.
Well, it's certainly a setback, because this is the moment where that 5 kilo advantage, and that's 5 kilos over Wu. Remember, it's only 2 kilos over Wang, so at the moment he's got 277 and Wang's got 278, and
Hoon has got 275.
Yeah, but I mean at the moment it's Wang who's in the lead by a kilo. So no pressure.
Well, he's probably going to take that again, which means he's going to just have to sit back and let his teammate play all three. He's got 3 cards to play, his teammate, then.
Well, he needs this 4 kilos badly.
Yes, he's really struggling in that first phase.
Yeah, it's taking too much out of him.
Yeah, that wasn't good. And the other problem is, of course, he's got to follow himself.
Yeah.
You know, it's not on a clean and jerk. It's nice to have a bit longer break. But again, you see that's tactics of the other athletes. A lot of the other athletes might have even increased a kilo to make him go out again. It's all part of the...
And again, that's a different thought, isn't it? Well, once upon a time, when you had to increase by 2.5 kilos, you might have wondered whether that was the right thing to do. Now it's only a kilo. You can take that risk more often. So you can turn the screw. Oh, he's having a bad time. Let's make it worse for him.
Well, I don't know what's happening. Somebody's obviously they've obviously decided to put him up.
Well, how clever is this going to be? On the evidence of what we just saw.
So they've worked the tactics out.
155 kilos on the bar. And this, well, this is interesting.
So Hoon, I think Hoon's doing the right thing.
Well, hang on a second. Hoon's going for 155
on his second.
On his second, and now Wu Meijin was supposed to come in on 155.
He's obviously coming in at more. Must be coming in at least 156.
Unless there's something untoward which has happened, which we haven't seen, but we've had no reports from the back room of any problems with Wu.
So this would be a personal best, and it would be exactly the total that he posted, 280. So 4 kilos more than his previous best. This will put him right in the frame. Oh, well, look at that.
The man is really growing in confidence. And that's 280.
Well, by my calculation, that puts him in the lead.
It certainly does, because Wang has got 278, so he's in the lead by 2 kilos at the moment.
And remember that Wu Meijin only snatched 122, so he's got the 3 kilos to make up.
Yeah.
He did weigh in lighter, so it's only the 3 kilos he's got to make up.
Yeah.
So at the moment he already needs 158 to go into the lead. So Hoon's in a good position, but he's got to really play his cards really smartly now.
So this is Yang for 155, second attempt.
That's right, snatched 120, now taking 155, so this will put him on 275.
It will indeed, but probably the damage in his case was done in the snatch. He's just too far off the pace to get into this for overall honours, or at least overall gold. He needs to stand still.
That was a good fight.
Yeah,
good fight that.
He's got the 275 now. That he's not going to get the gold, David, but he might still have a shout of an overall medal. Well, I'm mystified, because I'm very concerned that we haven't had any word about Wu, because I would have thought he would have come out by now, and I'm beginning to think there's something. We haven't seen him in the back room. I'm beginning to think that there may be something wrong here, David, because
so this is the gamble.
Li Zheng, 155.
He has to do this to go back into the lead. This is the last lift. This is last card to play. So he's taken a gamble now. Must do this. Has to do this lift.
Well, all credit to him for driving up and getting on his shoulders. Now, can he chuck this over his head? 155 kilos. No, he can't. And the gamble, I'm afraid, has not paid off, and he's left on 277. So we know that the Korean...
So that's one scalp that Hoon has taken.
And he still, remember, got one lift to come. So he really is in a driving position. The 19-year-old...
Well, I think as soon as he went up in my estimations, as soon as he snatched that 125 after the failure on 123, and then his confidence seemed to grow at that point, didn't it? So,
well, 156.
But this isn't enough to put him into the... This is only enough to put him into the lead on the clean and jerk. Doesn't put him in the overall lead.
No, it takes him up to... But it does take him up to 278. Takes him up to within 2 kilos of
takes him into the silver medal position.
Yeah.
Gives him... Which is sensible. Then he's got 2 lifts to try and fight for gold, whereas Hoon has only got 1 lift to hang on to it.
But he needs this first one badly. Big split, but he's got it. So 278.
So the question now is, what is Hoon going to take? Hoon has got... His coaches have got to look at this man and decide how much more he can lift.
Well, remember, you've got Wang on 278, you've got Yang on 275, you've got Zheng out of it at 277. You've got Lee at the moment on 280. So the Korean's got the score on the board.
Hoon is ahead, but this man's got 2 lifts to come, whereas Hoon has only got 1. So it's going to be a tactical thing now.
Yeah, Lee Yong-hoon.
Having said that, we shouldn't write this man off.
Yeah, 156.
This will give him 281, so this would put him into the lead. So this to go into the overall lead.
And he's lighter than the Yong-hoon. We happy with that?
Well, they'll probably get it with these referees. They're very kind.
Yeah.
So the lead has changed again. So it's quite an exciting finish, isn't it? Still not sure who's going to win. It could still be any one of 3 athletes.
So Lee Yong-hoon of Korea on 280, just surpassed now by Wang Xinhuan of Taipei, who's gone 281. But still, of course, Li Zheng, sorry, not Li Zheng, Wu Meijin, who's got 278 with 2 to go. And Yang still out there. He's got 1, the other Taipei lifter, who's at the moment on 275. So he's surely got to be the next man to lift.
Well, there's going to be a lot of tactics going on now. There'll be some mind games.
Well, this is the crucial stage. 4 lifts to go in the championship. That's the situation in the clean and jerk.
5 lifts to go.
5 lifts. But apologies.
I think the significant thing is that Wu has got 2 cards to play. So
he needs to get Lee to play his final card, and then, if he can, with 2 lifts remaining, do what is necessary.
Do what's necessary on the second.
Yeah. So 156. So Yang has put the bar, well, he's going for 156, so this would only take him to 276, so not really a player.
Looking for clean and jerk medals, perhaps. Yeah. Yes, that 120 snatch was only getting 120s has left him needing, really.
Just shows you, doesn't it? You know, just 2 or 3 kilos more in the snatch, and he'd have been in there, certainly with a chance of an overall medal, but who knows? This might yet earn him a bronze in the clean and jerk, if the others fail. But unfortunately not to be, so he ends on 275. There were 4, now there are only 3 left. Wang of Taipei, Wu of China, Lee of Korea. Yes, your money's still on the Korean, isn't it?
I just saw something in him. He just I don't know. He just seemed to have the he just seemed to get confident all of a sudden, and I don't see the same confidence in the others. Having said that, he's behind now.
We will leave as soon as possible, so we will not stay for the medal ceremony because of the skeleton lying just after us.
So Wang it is. Last attempt.
That was the best lift he's done for my money.
Absolutely.
7, which he needs now to go back into the lead.
Over Wang.
This will give him 282. And would leave Wu needing 160. So this is, and having 2 attempts to do it. So it'd be great if he gets this, because then it puts the pressure right back on the Chinaman.
And Wu, the defending champion, who has a personal best of 165, but only clean and jerk 157.5 in the Olympics.
Oh, what a shame.
Career for a while, certainly in these lighter weight categories. So it's all down to Mr. Wu Meijin, defending champion, world champion in Warsaw in 2002, world champion in Vancouver in 2003. So this is it to retain his title, 158.
It's within him, best of 165, so he should be capable of this.
This takes him right on to, what was it, 270? No.
270.
270, yeah.
No.
So what am I talking about?
290.
290.
Yeah. No, 280.
280.
Doesn't actually
No,
take him into the lead.
No. So
I wonder if this is a miscalculation.
Well, it's a mislift.
I'm just wondering why he would take 158. So
Yeah, would have only been 280. Or maybe this was the concern. He knew that he was, in his present condition today, right near his limit.
But he needs to do 282. He needs 160 if he's going to win.
Yeah.
So is he going for the silver, or is he going to go 160 and take gold?
To 160, I mean, what's the point? You have to go for the 160, wouldn't you?
Well, he's clearly capable of 160.
I mean, the only
well, it'll be the world champion on the clean and jerk.
he's not been the lifter so far this season, but he has in previous years. But no, it's not going to happen. Bronze is the best he can hope for in the overall ranking, and that's where the defending champion will be when they come to give out the medals. So the title goes to Taipei in the shape and form of Wang Xin-Huen, who you saw just moments ago backstage giving the thumbs up, confident that he'd done enough. And in fact, to be fair to him, just that one failure in the snatch.
No, 2 failures.
2 failures, 1 in the snatch.
Failed the snatch, failed the clean jerk, then came back with that 156 to go back into the lead on that 282, which has proved very beneficial. Yeah.
So the title going to Taipei. And it's not Wu. And something of a shell-shock look about the Chinese squad there. They had 2 cards. I think they were pretty confident that one of them would have been good enough to win on the night, but Li Zhang 2 failures in the clean and jerk, left down on 277 and out of the overall medals. The 156 that he's got, giving him the gold medal in the clean and jerk by virtue of body weight, with Wang, Wu, who weighed in at 55.65, Wang, who weighed in at 55. Well, I don't even understand that, because Wang weighed in, according to my list, at 55.57, which means that surely Wang, with the lighter body weight, would take the gold in the clean and jerk. So
well, that was what Wu was doing. He was going for the gold on the clean and jerk.
But he only got 156.
I think what they said to him was, they said, if you do 158 on your second, that's the gold on the clean and jerk, and then you can take 160 on your third for the total. And I think that was probably the deal. And because he missed it on his second, they said, you've got to go for 158 because we want at least 1 gold medal.
Yeah. All I'm saying is that graphic is wrong, because on the body weights here, it is Wang who's actually got the gold medal, because he weighed in at 55.57 and Wu weighed in at 55.65. So Wang on 281, we agree with that. Li on 280, Wu on 278, we agree with all that. And Li Zheng down on 277, that's fine, and Tu Yang on 275. Promising name to watch out for, Beruzi of Iran, 255.